Hello, this is Isaac, and in this short tutorial I'm going to show you how you can build a chat together with Laravel and Elixir Phoenix. First I will show you how to build it, and then we will talk about why you should do it, because of course you can just use Elixir Phoenix for everything, but let's assume you have a current application with Laravel and you can't migrate it, and maybe you just like to use Laravel and just for real-time functionalities you want to bring another service, another language. Well, we all know about the pusher.com service. They have free plans and also paid plans. So I'm going to show you how you might build one of your own pusher service. Okay, so let's begin. Now, I already generated two projects. I haven't done anything with them yet. I have a Laravel and an Elixir Phoenix project. Okay, I don't expect you to know Elixir Phoenix. I will touch the points on the points that will help us, and hopefully it will excite you and you will go learn it, because I think this is one of the best frameworks, best languages out there. And just a short description: Elixir is a programming language created by Joseph Alim. Now the great thing about Elixir is that it's running on the Erlang virtual machine, and if you don't know, Erlang is quite a powerful language in terms of performance. Especially it's good for real-time, fault-tolerant applications with concurrency and parallelism and all the great stuff that make your app run fast and stable. And Phoenix is just a framework of Elixir, and I gotta tell you, it's a piece of art, and you will see how easy it is to build real-time applications with Phoenix. Okay, so we have here our Laravel application. Okay, this is the app.js. I removed the whole view.js boilerplate. We're not going to use that. And web.php, this is our route file, and I just modified the welcome file. And of course I included the app.js here in the script in the bottom, and I also have this CSRF token because we will use an AJAX call. Okay, so we all know PHP, Laravel itself, does not have built-in real-time functionalities. You can't do it. But Phoenix does. So first let's create a socket connection, and then we will talk more about it. Okay, so in the Elixir Phoenix application, when we generate a project, there is a file called phoenix.js. This file, you don't need to know anything about it. All you need to know is this is your connection to the socket. Okay, this is like your channel, your TV, you might say. Without this file, you can't do anything. This is like a magic file. So we will copy this content of this file, and we will create here under the JS a new file, and we will call it phoenix.js as well. And I will paste everything in there. I'm going to save it. I'm using browser sync, so it should be able to update everything automatically. Now we have the file, okay? Now we can actually create the connection. Now, how would we do that? So I prepared some snippets here, but let's first import everything and create the socket connection. Now this is our app.js file. And here I'm only, so we can use the $. We will need jQuery for an AJAX call, soon you will understand why. We're importing the socket from the Phoenix. We're creating an instance. This is just the route of the Phoenix project. If you have a real site, it's going to be your real site, your real domain. So we're going to create a new socket instance, and then we're going to connect to it. Then we need to pick a channel and join that channel, but we don't have that channel actually, so we will gonna comment that out. But let's save this and see if we're getting any kind of error. So WebSocket connection to, okay. Why is this happening? This is happening because my Phoenix server is not running. Let's run that for a moment. Mix phoenix.server. Okay, this is running. Let's refresh our page. And there is no error. This means that we are connected, because again, if I'm going to shut down the server, you see? Automatically, because it's going to repeatedly try to connect, but there is no connection because the server is down. But first of all, did you see how easy it was to connect to the socket? It just works. It's amazingly easy. This is all I did, and I just copied the file. I didn't create this file, and I didn't do anything in the Phoenix project. Nothing yet. So we connected a socket, but we need to have a channel. You have a TV. Imagine you're opening a TV. You need to pick a channel. You want to see a movie, a TV series. So this is the same thing. We need a channel so we can broadcast events, broadcast messages to our users. So we will generate a channel in our Phoenix project. You will see how Phoenix is friendly from the beginning with us. So what we're going to do here, I'm basically just copying it from the documentation. Mix Phoenix generate a channel called room channel test. Yeah, we will override it. And we have a channel. You see, we just generated a channel. Quite simple. Now let's take a look at it, and here it is, room channel. Now this is our socket file. It comes like that. I didn't do anything. All we need to do, comment this out. So we're going to have a channel. It's going to be called room and a wildcard. So we will have an unlimited channels that starts with the word room. So it could be room lobby, room pizza, room bowling, whatever you want. And we're not using any kind of authentication because we want to make it easy. So this is why this is the connect function. When I do socket.connect, it's going to hit this function. By default, it will return OK, because I don't want to do any kind of authentication at the moment for that. But we could do if we wanted to. And this is the transport WebSocket. This is in charge of passing all the messages, of broadcasting all the events. Okay, without this, you can't do anything. Now we generated the room channel, and we have here some boilerplate, and we automatically have the room lobby channel. Okay, so we will join that channel. Let's see if it's going to work. Let's comment this out. Of course, it's not going to work yet because we need to run the server. Okay, so let's run the server. Now let's refresh the page, and you see, join successfully. So this is how we join. We define a channel variable, and then socket.channel, because socket is the instance of our socket. So we use that to connect to the room lobby. Now here we could have passed a token if we wanted to, but we're not doing any kind of authentication at the moment. Then channel.join on OK, join successfully. If there was an error, we would have seen that. If I will change the name of the channel, I'm going to refresh the page. Join crashed. Very simple. It just works. Let's bring it back. Refresh the page. Join successfully. So now we connected to the socket. We joined to the channel. Now we want to pass messages. Now there's two ways to do this. There's the easy way and the easier way. I'm going to show you the easier way because I don't want to deal with database at the moment. Now the easier way is using Phoenix just as a pusher service, but Laravel will do the whole database saving and everything. So the user will type a message right here, click enter, and then what will happen is that Laravel will save the message in the database, and if everything is okay, we will send an API call to the Phoenix application and trigger an event. And then Phoenix will broadcast a message to everyone that is in that channel. That's one way to do it. The other way to do it is to let Elixir Phoenix take over the whole socket, which means that Elixir Phoenix will have its own connection to your database and will do the whole saving and everything. This is a much more performant way of doing it because Elixir Phoenix has built-in concurrency and it's going to perform much better. So if you expect high traffic, then use the easy way. If not, use the easier way. Okay? But they're both technically easy. Just one is just a bit easier. That's all. Okay, so we have the channel. Now, we actually don't need these because we're using the easier way. If we let Elixir Phoenix to take over, basically this is going to handle in. So if you push an event called shout with your JavaScript code, this will handle it and will broadcast the message. But again, we're not doing that way. So what we need is an Elixir controller, so we can send API calls to that. Okay, so the first thing we need is to have a route. So let's create a route. Now notice that we have here two pipelines. We're going to use the API pipeline. Again, see, this is a very sophisticated framework. You can imagine the API pipeline doesn't need all these sessions because APIs are stateless. Because our Phoenix app is going to serve as an API at the moment. So all we're going to do here is, what is this raw came from? So we're going to create a resource called events. We're going to generate an event controller and only the create action we want. We only have one action. We want to trigger it. We want to broadcast an event. Okay. So we're going to go here to the controller, and I'm doing here pusher.api. This is like my namespace. So I'm going to create a new folder so we can separate it. I'm going to call it an API, and we're going to create a new file. We're going to call it event controller.ex. Okay. And I'm simply going to pass this code right here. Again, this is the model pusher. It must start with the pusher.api because this is what I defined here in the scope. And I have here one action called create. It accepts a connection and the params that I will send via the Laravel when I'm going to send the API call. And we're going to have an event, and that event will be whatever we choose it to be. And we're going to broadcast the message to the lobby room because this is the one that we joined to that room. And we're going to have here the event, and this is the message. The message must be in the form of a map because this is going to be a map. Soon you will understand when I'll do it for the Laravel app, and let's do it. And we're sending a response. We're not sending. We don't want to send any response here. All we want to do is broadcast the message. Okay. But this is basically our Phoenix part. That easy. And again, we can get rid of those because we're not using this for our app. And even here, see, so when the user wants to join to the lobby room, it's going to hit if authorized. Now, this authorized is always going to return true because, again, we are not requesting any form of authentication. So this is why it just works. But in real life, you will want to use some kind of a token and authenticate the user. Okay, so now let's go to our Laravel application. So we have this, and now let's first create our controller. And here we are. And we're going to run this command. PHP message controller created successfully. And of course you want to have a route in our Laravel application. This is it. This is for the AJAX call when the user hits enter on the form. So I'm going to have a post. The route is going to be named message, and it's going to hit the message controller to the store function. So if we will go to our controller, we'll have here the message controller. All we need is the store. The rest we don't need it. You can delete it if you want to. Prepared some code for this as well. Simple curl command. So I'm going to accept a message when the user hits enter on the form. And then we're just going to simply send an API call to our Phoenix app with the event name. Again, this event can be any event that you want it to be. It's up to you. And the body is going to be the message. Of course, let's create that part too as well. I have a boilerplate for that too. Let's get it. And here it is. And believe it or not, this is pretty much the whole thing. And soon you will understand how it works. So we have here the input, right? It has a message class. So we will query that class. We're going to add an event listener, which is at the enter. Once the user hits enter, we're going to grab the value. Then, of course, we're going to clear it. But we're going to send a simple AJAX call to the message URL. It's going to be post. We're going to send the CSRF token that we defined here. Otherwise, Laravel will return us an error. And all we're going to pass is the message. Now notice this part, this channel on shout. This is the event name. When Phoenix will broadcast, a message, and as you can see here in the controller, the event is going to be shout, because this is what I'm passing for the Laravel. So when Phoenix is going to broadcast, it will know which event to use. So if it's going to broadcast to a shout event, then this will listen to it, because we're connected to the socket already, and you will see how it works. But I can have here many event listeners on shout, on yell, on eating, on join, many, unlimited. This is just the tip of the sword. Okay, so you can see this was very simple. And again, when I'm hitting submit, I'm going to grab the message via the request. I'm going to send a simple curl. You can use guzzle, you can use whatever you want, okay? But we're going to pass the event and the body, okay? Now let's clear everything. In theory, it should work. Hello. Now let's see if it worked. You see, it did work, because if you take a look at this is the Phoenix project console. So it accepted the body and the event. Okay, let's do it again. I'm gonna call it pizza, and shout. Now let's, of course, let's prove that it's happening in real time. And I'm gonna have a new incognito window. Make it a bit smaller. I'll make this a bit smaller. And let's begin. Let's refresh. Hey, by the way, it's typing together because of browser sync. Hello. Cool. Phoenix. Laravel. Do you see how fast this is all happening? And all of these events, Laravel, Phoenix, cool, all of this is coming from the Phoenix project. How much time did it take? I didn't count the time, but that was very easy. Imagine how you can develop on that. This is happening in real time via socket connections, something that you created by yourself. And it just works. This is why I like about Elixir Phoenix. It just works. Right? Simple. So let's do a small recap of what happened here, okay? So again, first of all, why would you want to do that? Again, if you might want to use Elixir Phoenix for the whole thing, depending on your type of app. Elixir Phoenix is a very productive framework. It's really great. I really recommend that you will learn it. When I will have time, I will make more tutorials on that. But if you have a current Laravel application, okay, we all know that PHP is not a real-time technology. It wasn't built for that. So instead of rewriting your whole app, just use another service. This is going to make you a better programmer, so you can solve more broader problems. You'll be more versatile. Okay, so yes, I have a PHP application. You want to have a chat? No problem. I'm just gonna plug in an Elixir app, put it on a server, and this is going to push my messages. So this is like the notion of also microservices. Okay, instead of because sometimes your framework of choice will not solve all your problems. And that's fine, that's perfectly natural. Okay, I used to think that I want to learn the framework that will do everything for me, but that's not possible. Every language, every framework has its downsides. Either it's not productive, or either it's not fast enough, and more. So you can combine it, and you see how easy it was. What did we do here? We didn't do anything. We generated a Phoenix project. We ran a couple of commands in the terminal. We copied a file, the Phoenix file. And all we do here is creating the connection, a couple of lines. We're importing the socket, creating an instance of the socket, connecting to the socket, picking a channel, joining the channel, and everything just works smoothly. And then when the user types a message, we're sending the message to the Laravel controller. And the Laravel controller is going to send an API call to the Phoenix application, to the event controller. And it's going to pass the event name and the body, which is the message. And all I'm doing here is simply doing a simple broadcast of the message. And I can have millions of these actions to handle different types of events, to broadcast to different types of channels. This is how easy it is. So what you need to take from this is don't be afraid to use a couple of languages together at the same time. And like I said, there's two ways of doing that. And in this case, Phoenix is not using any kind of database. Laravel is doing everything. Okay, because in reality, we will first here write some code to store it in the database and only then send the API call. But aside of that, Elixir is not going to do anything. Okay, but if you need high performance, high traffic, then just let Elixir take over everything for you. And Elixir can connect to your database. Now, currently at the moment, Elixir Phoenix does not have a driver to connect to an Oracle MySQL database. So you're either going to have to use MariaDB or PostgreSQL, which is fine because Laravel can connect to MariaDB. If you use Laravel Forge, for example, they install for you MariaDB if you want to. So I like Laravel, I like Elixir Phoenix. They're both one of the most productive frameworks out there together with Ruby on Rails. Elixir Phoenix is great for performance, for concurrency. I also really like the syntax. But if you're familiar only with Laravel, then you don't have to use Elixir for everything. You can just bring it as a service for your application. Okay, remember, you have many options. You're not locked to only one option. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'm going to put links on how to install Elixir Phoenix and some sources so you can learn it. I really recommend the Programming Phoenix book. It's going to blow your mind, that book. Okay, so have a nice day.